Welcome to the Men Said Show, your home for weekly weird, wild and crazy stories, news, events and whatever has just hit my radar. This week is no different than any other, and we've got AI, we've got robots, we've got the death of Bigfoot. What would you do if you had the keys to the nuclear weapons? We've got all kinds, and as you can see that way, we've got Megan Fox on the cover. Awesome. So get yourself a drink, chill out for about half an hour, and let's have a look at some of these wild stories. Lately I've been thinking. So first up, I've got the death of Bigfoot. Now, what I mean by this is, I've recently seen a new Bigfoot video is doing the rounds on Instagram and TikTok. The video is from a guy who does I think it's called Mr. Squatch or something. Right? He's right into his Bigfoots, right? He's bang into it. This one looks really good. It shows you, I'll stick it on here, shows you a big Bigfoot type dude running through the woods, right? Big long arms. 5 years ago, you'd have been a big Bigfoot news. The problem is now with AI, this type of stuff is just super accessible to everyone. Entry into doing these types of videos, it costs zero time and zero money. Anybody can do it, which means the wonder of seeing a grainy video of something in the woods, right? Where to falsify it, to do a fake video like that, only 5 years ago would have took a lot of effort. It would have took somebody with a suit on, going out in the woods and filming it. Now, a single prompt can create this. So does this mean it's genuinely, is this the death then of Bigfoot videos? Because every time you see a Bigfoot video now, automatically it'll be AI. We're totally going to lose the wonder of cryptids. I think this is the death of Bigfoot. I don't think we'll ever see another video again where we think, oh, is it not? I think we'll just automatically see AI. Sad, because you want a bit of wonder in the world, don't you? It's the same with the UFOs. So we've had high megapixel cameras on phones for quite a while now, but it's not until you get AI that you start getting these really clear visuals of UFOs. And I think it's disappointing. As a kid, right, I grew up going to the library and getting books on the paranormal and cryptids, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoots, UFOs. I'd get books from the library. That's the only books I ever got from the library as a kid. And it was oh, this wonder. And now I feel as if it's just been stripped away because of AI. What do you think? Am I being ridiculous? Will we always enjoy these types of videos? I think this is the end of them. I think that's it. I think we're done. I don't know. What say you? Right. I saw this video and it reminded me of a story which I either watched, read or maybe made up. And I'm hoping somebody else has heard this story. But this video here, right, is a guy who's camping out in Thailand. And he hears this crazy... Well, I'll put the sound on, you can watch it. I'll put the sound on for a bit. He hears something rustling around on the bottom of where he's staying in the jungle or the woodland or whatever. It's a woman who's crying and then the woman starts laughing. Fucking creepy, if I'm honest. It is really creepy. Now, big red flag is that it starts off him filming himself asleep. Now, nobody does that, right? So that's the first flag. So this is clearly just being made up. But it did remind me of a story that I've watched, read or made up about in the Vietnamese War, right? There were these soldiers and they were staying in a tree house. One of the things that was a few of them staying in this tree house. And in the middle of the night, this old man burst in to the place where they were staying. Starts fighting people, really powerful, fast, strong. It takes a couple of them to try to overpower them. One of the lads grabs hold of a gun and pops one off into his side. The bloke screams at them, runs, jumps, leaps out of the treehouse, lands in the jungle and just takes off into the jungle. And they're fucking hell, what's that? What just happened there? Right? And then the next day, they're out doing their kind of patrols, and they come across this little village. And in this village, there's this old wizened man, right, who's got a gunshot wound in his side. But the locals say that, and the locals are caring for him, that the locals don't know how it's happened. And they're saying that, this man, he cannot walk more than like a couple of steps. He's really elderly. Yet, the night before, these soldiers, I had a massive fight with him. And he had strength, and he was fast, and he was like all for it. And they reckon that, like, in like I'm just going to broad brush a massive part of the globe, right? But in your Thailands and your Vietnams and all that kind of jazz, right? There are these stories of like these spirits that look through the jungle for bodies to host. And this video that I've seen of this dude reminded me of that story. But I don't know whether I've made that story up. Has anybody heard that story? If you have, please let me know. It's a good one, and this video's creepy. I wish he didn't start it off by filming himself asleep. It's a real shame. Last week, we talked about the AI minister in Albania, the minister for anti-corruption, all part of Tony Blair's big plan to make everybody digitally dependent, I guess, right, so they can control the world. That's my view, tinfoil hat, yeah, all that. Well, it's been a busy week for old AI Albania woman, because 1 week in, and now Albania is saying that she's actually pregnant, and she's going to have 83 AI babies, and these 83 AI babies are going to help the 83 ministers of the Socialist Party to go about their work, and that's the thing. I think this is just some kind of like elaborate rollout of Copilot at work, but I think that's what it is. I think they're just getting Copilot, they're rolling it out everybody, right? And for some reason they're spinning it up as an AI minister and AI babies and AI pregnancy, probably just to get attention, right? Which it's done, it's hit my radar. Which is wild, isn't it? What a wild way to roll out just a basic platform. I've never seen nothing like it. It's absolute bonkers. So let's keep an eye on them. Right? Let's keep an eye on these 83 AI babies. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe there's darker forces. Maybe they've got Tony Blair's thing. Maybe Tony Blair's the father. Maybe he is the father of the AI babies. Who knows? I'll keep an eye on it. Right? Don't worry. I will keep a proper eye on it, and I will fetch any new info into our conversations each week. I'm on it.
What's fresh?
There is a new movie out on Netflix called House of Dynamite. Now, I'm not sure whether this is like spoiler or no spoilers, because it's not your traditional story-driven movie. Yeah, like beginning, middle, and end. There's no real conclusion to it, right? What it is it starts off with people in a load of different US government buildings, just like scanning their way in on the morning with a key card and grabbing the cup of coffee and have a nice day. Hi, how's the kids and all that. And then they sit down, and this is all like military strategy, White House and all that. And then blip, there's a nuclear missiles detected, right, coming in from. They're not too sure where it's launched from, but it's coming into the US. And they can see the trajectory, and they know it's going to land in a US city in about 17 minutes. And the full movie, right, is all about them trying to work out what to do. And that 17 minutes kind of plays over like 3 times, maybe 4 times, from different perspectives from the people who are trying to decide what to do. The president, the secretary of defense, and just randomers. Do you know what I mean? Some people are out of the depth a little bit because it's such a big deal. And it doesn't have a conclusion, doesn't tell you what happens. The whole movie's about kind of driving you to decide on what would you do. And it's really good. It really gets you thinking, like, what would you do? What would you do in such a scenario? Now, for regards to this bit, right, this clip here, I've wrote what I would do in the article on mensaidinc.co.uk. If you go to the website, you can see the article and you can see exactly what I think I would do and my reasons for it. My strategic thinking, you'll see it all laid out on that article. If you have seen the movie, head on over to mensaidinc.co.uk and you tell me what you would do in that exact scenario if you were the president. I think it's pretty dope. It's a good thought experiment. Head on over, write it down, and then on the live stream, we're going to read through what people's views would have been. The future is arriving so quickly. I kind of get my head around how fast things are moving. And I think I talk about that every week. Not only we're grappling with the impacts of AI, but robots are becoming robots are hitting us really, really quick. And this new one, Neo, has even got pre-orders for 2026 delivery. So this Neo is like a maid bot, like somebody to be kicking about the house doing chores, like folding laundry and that, and hoovering up and all that kind of jazz. But a proper bipedal robot in your house for either £20,000, you can buy it outright, or you can pay £500 a month to have it in your house. Last week I was on about Megan Fox bot, and the Macho Man Mandy Savage bot is a laugh. Is in the future, and here's this one here now doing pre-orders. It's absolutely incredible. Now I believe that all of the functions that you're seeing in this video of Neo, they're all being operated manually, so it's not being done by AI, similar to what happened with Optimus at the big Tesla thing that I had earlier in the year, where the robots were all dancing and talking. That wasn't AI, that was all being done by a manual handler, and apparently this is the same for this Neo. But it's insane that they're taking pre-orders for 2026 delivery. These are going to be in our homes by 2030. You'll see them walking around, walking dogs. Yeah, they'll be kicking about, doing shopping. You're going to see these around real soon. Just as quickly as electric cars came from nowhere and now they're everywhere. Robots are going to be exactly the same. They're going to be exactly the same. It's hard to grasp the pace at which change is happening. But here we are, 2026, and you'll have one of these in your home. If you've got 20 grand to spare or 500 quid a month to take a car payment in it. Wild. This is one, right? So this is the nostalgia bit. I can't play the music out because it will get us a copyright ban and all that kind of jazz. You've got to be dead careful of that stuff now. But I'm sure we can all remember in the kind of the mid-90s when there was this Levi jeans advert came out, right? And there was a tune on it called Spaceman. And I'm going to sing it, right? This is... So I'll try. It was like, Spaceman, always wanted you to go into space, man. And we saw it, tune. This is going to be a massive summer belter tune, like a dance thing, right? And then it came out, and I remember it coming out. And that bit happens, much better sang than I sang it. It happens for those few seconds. And then it just goes like, woo. And it goes into this all dark, like, doobie 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 doo. Like this kind of grungy, dark track. And it was a gigantic letdown. Proper mega letdown. That tune's probably better now than it was then, if I'm honest with you. But I remember everybody was like dead pumped because that sounded like it was going to be a big summer tune, that Spaceman. And it was only for the first handful of seconds of the actual track. It was by Babylon Zoo. I'll have it on here somewhere. I'll have it on here. Babylon Zoo and Spaceman. I don't know why it hit my radar that this week, but it just did. And I really got took back to the moment. I can remember hearing the letdown. I remember that. I really can remember it. And I also remember, I'm sure I can remember this playing out in like a Metro Century kind of place. I might be hallucinating with memory hallucinations there. But what a nostalgic take back to a proper big letdown, Spaceman by Babylon Zoo. Let me know if you were just as disappointed as I was when you heard the proper track and it wasn't that dance thing that was on the jeans advert. So some more nostalgia goodies for you is this, which is No Rules Art. Now, I've never heard of it, so it's not very good for nostalgia, right? So it must be a big US thing, because when you read about it, it's all about trapper keepers and all that kind of jazz, which is a very US thing, isn't it? But the art itself, it does hit some nostalgic buttons. It does remind me of like the 90s, particularly the art style of like Garbage Pail Kids. So can you remember the cards? You'd get like 5 or 6 cards, Windy Winston and I don't know, loads of others, Volcano Bob and all that kind of jazz. These are drawn out, painted, wild creation art. This is very much like it. It just reminded me of the Garbage Pail Kids, and I've definitely spoke about those in the past. Because this was just another nostalgia button, but I bet in the US this must be one of those nostalgia buttons for you, because that art type was very much kind of prevalent in that time. I think it's cool. Yeah, I'll put on some different examples up here of the types of art that came up under No Rules Art. I saw this on Instagram. It just popped up, and it took me back to then, but maybe it's in a different timeline when I was born in the US, in a totally different timeline. So it's a timeline nostalgia bit. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about now, but you know what I mean. It kind of just brought me back, but more about Garbage Pail Kids rather than this. That's it. That's it for nostalgia for the week. For G's or Bro, I like to find some of the coolest bro clips. So this could be like a monster truck or a dope car that's been built, a custom car. It could be a fight, whether it be a street fight or a cool knockout in the UFC or in boxing. It could be something to do with the gym or weights. It could be anything like that, right? Proper bro things. But for this one, I've got this absolutely mighty stick. Now, it is ingrained in men, right? When you're out and about, if you find a really good stick, like, you appreciate it, whether it be a good stick to be walking with, or a one that resembles a sword. There's loads and loads of Instagram videos and pictures of people finding like really good sticks. This here is Earth's mightiest stick. I mean, look at it. That is worthy of Thor to be using in one of the Avengers movies. In fact, when Thor loses his hammer and he has to go off and get that dude to build him a new one, right? This is basically what it looks like. It basically looks like then Groot chops his hand off, right, and uses that stick. This is basically the same thing. This is a cool stick, and if you found that stick, you take photos of it. I would do videos on it. It would be hanging up here. It would be there. It would be pride of place. That stick would be there. It is such an amazing stick. Aye, that's it. That's G's or Bro this. That's G's or Bro this week. Earth's mightiest stick. In the future, though, I'm going to do a few extras. Right, I'm going to do some cars and I'm going to do some monster trucks. But for this, yeah, G's or Bro, is this not the greatest stick you have ever seen?
Top birds.
So, in the last couple of weeks, there's been the Victoria's Secret's 2025 fashion show, and it got me wondering, like, who's the fashion show for, right? Because I for research purposes, I did watch a bit, right? So I have watched a bit of it, purely for journalistic integrity, so I could talk about it. Now, I'm assuming that the target audience is not like middle-aged working class dudes from the north of England. But on a Venn diagram of interest, there's definitely overlap. Right, there's definitely overlap. But this fashion show is done for, I don't know who it's for actually, right? Because it's about underpants and kegs. There's singers on I've never ever heard of, and people on that I've never ever seen, right? So it's not tapping into like the men said audience. I know that for a fact. But there is keen interest there from this demographic. Not to watch a full like fashion show, more like I don't know, like, maybe do this for the nostalgia bit. When you were a kid before the internet, you had to look through like Littlewoods catalogues. Do you know what I mean? To see underpants, you had to look through the catalogue. This is kind of like a video catalogue, I guess. Is that what it is? I don't know who it's appealing to. I guess if there's anybody watching this who's got knowledge of the industry, then let me know. But worth a watch. I was alright, actually. It was decent watch. A second screen, doing a second screen where you're flicking through your phone on one screen, you've got something else on the telly. Second screening, worth it for a second screen. And on this week's cover, as you can see, we have Megan Fox, who stepped out like this for Halloween. And for that, I've stuck her on the cover. Yeah, we will get to, on the covers, I do want it to be hotties or saucies. Saucies being like sausages. So we've had Gary Neville and we've had Prince Andrew, or the Prince, the formerly known Andrew, formerly known as Prince now, right? So that's the saucies or hotties, right? Maybe we'll get some heroes on. Once we can find some cool hero dudes that made the news that week, maybe we'll stick them on. But for this week, it's Halloween. Went with this Megan Fox, who stepped out in Los Angeles like this for some parties. And that's it, man. That's the one. That is the one for the week. So that's it. So that's the Men Said Show number 3. Hopefully you can see a little bit of evolution here, a little bit of development. It's probably been a bit shorter than I wanted. I've rattled through the stories really quick. I've kept it really tight. But I've tried to start to clump things into categories. That'll help us to, I think, and plot and plan what we're going to talk about for the next week. I can look for subjects within the weird, what's fresh, Jizo, bro, all that stuff. Right? I can start to kind of look for stories to build throughout the week, so I can do it for the Men Said Show number 4. Now, what we will do is, if you go onto the website mensaiding.co.uk and you find these articles that are in there, right, they're not hard to find, click on them and leave your comments. Leave comments in them anonymously, or leave them as your name or whatever. And what I'll do is, on G's Friday, which is the Friday night live stream at 7 PM, what I'll do is, we'll go back through what we've done for Men Said Show, and we'll look through the comments. We'll have a read through and see what you said. We'll see what you said about the nuclear strike. What would you do? We'll review that in Jesus Friday. We've got about Bigfoot and the death of Bigfoot, AI, robots. We'll cover all the stuff we've covered here. We'll talk about it in a live chat environment with a few beers on Friday 7 PM, and we'll read through your comments. So get yourself over there and get yourself involved with the content. Next week, this will be even better, right? It'll just get better and better and better and better. I know it's cliche to say this, but please like and please subscribe. I am trying to I'm just starting off with all this over the last kind of year for the YouTube channel. So any help you can throw my way will be absolutely spot on, especially if you tell a pal who might like this type of stuff. But get across to G's Watch Friday, the live show. It's like a virtual night out, but it's like a pub environment. That's the whole kind of plan for it. And we'll have some good laughs, man. That's what we'll do. So until then, peace. Hope you have a great week, and I'll catch you next time.